it's going to go in quite easy. Alright, so we've got that pretty well carved off. Oh yeah, that looks a lot nicer. Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today we're going to talk about how to make your very own 1920s vintage walking stick. Stay tuned. Before we get started on this video, I'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to my very good friend Sarge Vining. If you haven't checked out his channel or subscribed, you really should go over there and check it out. I'll make sure there's a link in the description box below. But he's the one that gave me this idea, so thanks a lot, Sarge, and it really worked out very well. I've been getting comments about having a good walking stick in my previous video, and so I thought I'd go ahead and make this and show everybody how it's done. For this project, you're going to need a few simple items. First of all, you're going to need some sort of a handle. This is an old rake, and it's about the perfect size and diameter, but an old mop handle or broom handle would work just as well. Next, you need to remove the nail or screw that holds the head into the handle. Once you get that out, go ahead and remove this and either save this for another project or discard it. The other tools that you're going to need: a hammer, flathead screwdriver, depending on the type of screw you use, some sort of a drill. You need an end cap. This is just a copper end cap of the right diameter for the handle, a couple of copper nails. You're going to need a handle off of a velocipede, or a bicycle as we would call it, or anything that is of the proper vintage and look. You're going to need a leather thong, a large finish nail, and then a large flathead screw. Next, we need to drill a hole, both in the handle end as well as the tool end, and that will become more apparent as we get a little bit farther into the project why we are doing this. So first of all, we find the center line, get this started. Again, depending on the kind of bit you're using, this is a spoon type bit. And we've got a nice little hole started here already. You can see that. We'll do the same thing to the other end, and we're going to drill it out. Alright, very good. You can see we've got our hole drilled. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Now that we have those two holes drilled, we need to fit our handle on here, and I can see that this diameter is much larger than what I have for this, so I need to take my pocket knife, note about where this line is, and then I need to whittle this down and sand it off. This is a 1920s J. Noel & Son from Sheffield, England. It's an old multi-tool, and I'll probably be talking more about this in a future episode. But for now, we're going to make our mark and go ahead and score that all the way around the handle. There we go. And then we're just going to start shaving very carefully. And then as we shave, we'll go around and then we'll check the diameter, see if the handle fits, and then sand it down a little bit and smooth it. I'll finish this and get back with you. Alright, so we've got that pretty well carved off. Looks like it's going to fit pretty good. I did a test fit, and then you carve off some of the high spots. I bought this as a set. You can still get these on eBay. These old velocipede or bicycle handles, and I made sure and ordered one with a hole in the end. Next, we turn our attention to the other side. This is where the rake was fastened on, and we're going to be using this cap, and this just happens to fit perfectly. Put that on there. That's going to help preserve this and keep this end from splitting out. But then we're also going to want something with a little bit more of a grip. That's why we went ahead and put that hole in here. It's going to take our large finishing nail, and we're going to simply tap this in pretty good ways. And then we can either file this off or clip this off or just nail it in farther, depending on what you want to do. Again, this is for grip on slippery surfaces, but you don't want it sticking out very far, just a little bit. That's probably good enough, something about like that. I don't want this super sharp. I've got plenty of nice little edges on here. That's going to help catch. Now, I need to make sure that this doesn't come off. As you're walking along the path and as you continually strike the bottom of this on the trail, even though this cap, this copper cap, is a really tight fit, it's still going to eventually come off and fall off. So we want to fasten this on here a little better. To fasten it on, we're going to be using these copper nails. Now, copper is pretty soft. You could pre-drill these, but you wouldn't necessarily have to. So we're just going to start and keep tapping until we get a little bit of a hole. Once we get that started in, it's going to go in quite easy. And there we go. Now we have fastened the cap on, and it's not likely to come off. You could do this on each side if you want, but these are long enough that they'll pretty well cover across. So it's up to you if you want to use just one nail or two. Now, because I want mine to stay on, I did go ahead and put a nail in each side, and I did not drill those holes. I simply used the nails themselves, held it very straight, and nailed it in through the copper. Again, it's pretty soft. Next, we take our leather thong and we feed it carefully through the end here of our handle, just like this, where that hole is, and just work that on down through there. When you get that pulled through, it'll look something like this, and this is just a piece off of an old leather belt. I'm going to take our two tapered ends, I'm going to put it right in here like this, and we're going to try to twist that in there as best we can and try to lock that in as far down as possible. Now make sure that when you drill the hole for the screw that you make it wide enough to accommodate the leather as well as the screw head. Alright, we're going to put it right down in there then. Between those two pieces of leather, I'm going to start to screw it in place. To screw it in place, we're going to be using this ratcheting screwdriver. And it has the adjustment here so you can reverse it if you wish, forwards or backwards. And there we go, nice and tight. Now we just take the handle, begin to pull this out, and then as we pull this out, go ahead and start pushing the bicycle handle on. Do that a little bit at a time. It's also good if you buy original ones of these to heat this up. You can use a hair dryer or put it in the dash of your car for a little bit just to get the rubber soft, because this old rubber can split out on you. Alright, there we have it. That's pretty good. We've got our strap here for the hand. Now, because this is an old handle, it's old wood, it's all dried out, I'm going to go ahead and put some walnut oil on it. Oh yeah, that looks a lot nicer. This will also help preserve the wood and make it more waterproof for when I'm out in the back country. After that, we just took the dry part of the cloth and just wiped it down. You can see what a huge difference that makes. It really makes a beautiful walking stick. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure and check out the links in the description box below, just under the More button. While you're down there, you'll also find our waypointsurvival.com link. And this is where you can sign up to take survival and bushcraft classes at our beautiful training facility in Southern Ohio. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.